morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Israel Olukayode. I'm the National Vice President, and I'm going to be the moderator for today's program. I hope I'm audible. I hope I'm audible. Okay, I'm just going to assume, all right, thank you very much. Amina, thank you very much. So it's nice to have each and every one of us here. And we know that each time we gather together and we have webinars and sessions like this, it promises to be something very impactful. It always brings impact, it always brings something memorable to us. And today we're going to be handling a very, very interesting and impactful topic, building identity and character. Now, I want to welcome each and every one of us to this session. Now, for every president and exco on the call, I would like you to reach out to each and every one of your DLC members. Let them know that the hour has come. Let them know that we've started and that we want each and every one to be on board for this session. We don't want anyone to miss it. So go to your local groups, your local government groups, which and every group you are on, and share the link and let them know we are on and we've started. So quickly, again, I am Olukai Edizo, the National Vice President, and we're going to be treating the topic building integrity, identity, and character. And we have a lovely speaker who is going to come up now, but we're going to be taking our national anthem from here. So over to Nigeria, our unity land, though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigeria, soul and proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign in peace for birth and honor, and this we count as gain. To hand unto our children a banner without stain. Amen. Thank you so much, Mercy. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. All right. So I would like us, before continuing, we want to know each and every one of you on the call. We want to know where you are joining us from. So please drop your name, drop your state code, and drop the location you are joining us from. Whether it's Abuja, whether it's Ibadan, whether it's Lagos, drop your name, your state code, and where you are joining us from. So quickly, I'm going to be introducing our keynote speaker, right? And our keynote speaker is someone who is deeply engrossed in the topic, who has a deep background in the topic. I've known her for, I think I met her towards the beginning of this year, if I'm not wrong, around March. And the little interactions I had with her, knowing about her foundation, knowing about her experience, was groundbreaking. For me, it was beyond what I imagined. It was something very new. So it promises to be something interesting. So I'm going to be welcoming Oluwaseyi Adebimpe Ojo to the stage to take over from here. Thank you very much, Ma.
Good morning. Can you hear me, please? Yeah, no, I need to know if you can hear me. Just let me know in the. Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Oluwaseyi. And thank you so much for the warm introduction, Israel. I really appreciate it. Um, I'm happy that I can be here with us today to share a little bit on the topic that I have been given. So just give me a minute. I want to set a timer so that I know that I'm using exactly 30 minutes, the number of time that I've been given, the amount of time that I've been given, so I don't exceed it. Okay, lovely. So I'm going to share my slides now so that you can follow me. And okay, so before the slides come up, I will be introducing myself again. My name is Oluwaseyi Adebimpeojo. I'm the founder and executive director of the Nature Nurture Initiative. The initiative was born out of a desire to help young people, especially adolescents and young adults, come into identity, come into awareness, and take charge of their lives. Because we realize that a number of people are not don't really know what they want to do with their lives. They don't really know what the influences are. And Mercy, I don't know if you can see my slide or if there's any way to make it bigger for those that are following. Okay, thank you. All right, that's fine. So yeah, so the topic that we're working with today, as we can see, is building identity and character, external influences in the Nigerian setting. So we're going to be going through the topic quickly in like 20 minutes to 30 minutes. I will try to finish early just to see if I can get questions or comments from people, from those of you online. Yeah, so moving on, we're going to be discussing here briefly, we're going to be discussing identity. We're going to be discussing internal influences, the influences that affect our identity and character and growth and purpose. So basically, we're going to be talking about identity, character, and growth and purpose in life as young people in Nigeria. So I'm going to try to make examples or refer to our particular society, because whether we like it or not, we are influenced by where we find ourselves. Our environment has a great impact on us. So it's important that we understand how our environment affects us so that we're able to take advantage of these forces and become the kind of persons that we want to be. So, identity, I'm sure we all know what identity means. This is who you are and what you stand for. A lot of people, if you ask them to introduce themselves, they begin to tell you about the number of siblings they have, they begin to tell you about their jobs, they begin to tell you about things that are actually external, that really doesn't mean anything as it relates to their identity. So, going through this session, we're going to be talking about a little bit of that, and then we're going to be talking about how the internal and external influences affect our identity and our character. Internal influences, I would say it's your innate traits, those things that make up who you are, some things that you don't necessarily have a control over it. And then external influences too. You really don't have a control over it. You can control how you react to things. To an extent, you can try to shape your life or make decisions that would help your life go in a particular direction that you want to go. But then there are certain influences that are completely out of control. So, character. Some people have positive parts of their characters. Some people have negative parts of their characters. I believe we all do, because I don't think anybody is perfect per se. So we're going to be helping us understand how our character can lead to us living a life of growth and a life of purpose. And then I think we can go to the next slide now. So, who am I? This is no. I think you moved. Somebody moved. You already moved the slide, so we can go back to slide 2. Thank you. What defines your identity? What defines your values? And what defines your sense of self? What shapes your decisions? What are the internal and external factors that affect how you take decisions? You'll agree with me that right from when you've been born and you became conscious of yourself, You have taken a series of decisions that have led you to this particular point in your life. We're all core members here on the call, and at a point where when in primary school, we proceeded to secondary school. After secondary school, at some point in secondary school, we had to choose our specialization, whether we wanted to go a particular way, which made us go to a particular class, either to do the sciences, to go to humanities or arts, sociology, and all of that. We decided that we made choices, we took our exams, we got into various higher institutions of learning. We had particular courses that we studied. We graduated at one point or the other, and here we are now going through our national youth services, our national youth service. So you'll agree with me that all the choices that you made led you to this particular point. So in all of this, who are you becoming? Because whether we like it or not, all these things will be all your decisions and experiences will be at the end of the day the sum total of your life. So what makes each person unique in character and what makes each person unique in response? Because the way I would respond to certain things will not be the same way Israel or Mr. Mayowa or Miss Mercy will respond to certain things. And that will be as a result of our unique character, our unique traits, and our unique identity that we have formed over time. We definitely, let me not say probably, we definitely grew up in different families, we grew up with different backgrounds, different environments, we interacted with different people, we've had different experiences in life, and this had a great impact on who we are. So the question now is, can I become somebody that rises above my circumstances? Can you become more than what your background, more than what your environment has told you that you should be? So we're going to be going through a process of reflection because, just to jump ahead, a challenge that most young people and a lot of adults have is that they don't actually take time to reflect, they don't take time to grow. So they're just going about their journey haphazardly. But just like we can draw examples from life, say you want to build a house, you would not just, even if you have all the materials and all the necessary resources that you need to build a duplex, there's a process, there's a step by step process that you need to go through to get the desired building that you want. And that goes for our human life, that goes for our personality, that goes for ourselves. We have to be deliberate about what we take in, what we put out, how we project ourselves. So, this session, we're going to go through it to help us understand all of this. So, now, am I the one controlling my slide? Okay, we're on the third slide. Just to run through, I think I already highlighted it, but the learning objectives, the first one is identity and character, to help you understand what identity and character means and how they connect in you. Explore your internal influences, those are your temperaments, your emotions, your personal agency. All of these things, they affect you in your family, in your life, in your career, even in the way you handle your finances, in the way you handle your friendships and your relationships, in the way you build your teams, in how you go about living your life, in the kind of career that you choose. All of these things have a way, have an influence in all of in the way your life turns out in these various aspects. So we are going to also highlight the challenges that are unique to us as Nigerian youths and how we can overcome these challenges. Because whether we like it or not, there are certain challenges that are peculiar to the Nigerian scene. There are certain things that you will tell others that are not Nigerians and they will not believe it because they're not really a partaker of your Nigerian reality. Nigerians are unique. That is why, based on our experiences here, when we go out, we tend to thrive. And not necessarily because people want to thrive, but the society here has made it such that you have to struggle, you have to work hard, you have to do certain things, and then you go out there and you have so much drive in you. All of these things are internal influences that then begin to show up externally in our lives. So, after we identify all of this, I will give a brief roadmap for growth, how you can take advantage of all of this to become the person that you want to be in life. Thank you. So the next thing we're going to be talking about now is what is identity. Identity, the sum total of our identity are our beliefs, our value systems, our sense of belonging, our sense of purpose, and your self concept, how you view yourself. Your belief systems are your convictions and your principles that guide how you live. If it was an interactive session, if I was able to um maybe hear back from you, maybe I'll be able to at the end of my session. But I'm sure that if I go around and I asked people about certain things, maybe as it relates to religion, you will realize that some people have a certain view about religion. Some people believe, some people are Christians, some people are Muslims, some people are traditional worshippers. Some people also don't believe that there is one God. Some people believe in nature, some people believe in science, and apart from that, you even see some people who claim to be Christians, or who are Christians rather, and they will say, okay, because they are Christians, they only have certain kinds of belief. Some even in the Christian faith, for as an example, you realize that some people call themselves Catholics, some people call themselves Pentecostals. They may have a central faith, but then they have different value systems and beliefs as to how they want to go about expressing their faith. And your value systems, some people value their family, some people value work, some people are able to put their career ahead of any other thing. And we'll find out as we go on in today's session that this the reason why people have various value systems are as a result of the various internal and external influences that have been a part of their lives. So whether you like it or not, most of us, the reason why we hold as an example, because it's something that I'm sure all of us can relate to, the reason why we believe in the kind of faith that we believe in today is because we were born into it. Most people did not even take a conscious or are yet to take a conscious decision to either be Muslims or Christians or traditionalists. Most of us found ourselves in a faith, and then maybe as we grew old and became more conscious, we now decided that we want to be this. That's why you see that some people can convert when they become adults. They'll say, okay, I believe that this religion, maybe you were a Christian, you now want to become a Muslim, or you were a Muslim, you want to become a Christian, or at the end of the day, you decide that, okay, maybe this religion thing doesn't really work for me, and the reason why you arrived at that particular decision was because of your experiences or certain things that happened. So, all of this, your sense of belonging, we all know that no human being is an island. Imagine if this whole world you had it to yourself. The whole point of creation and the whole point of human life is that we're able to interrelate, we're able to intermeddle, we're able to develop culture and meaningful relationships. We're here today because of relationships. NYC has given us a platform to come together. Most people form long life partnerships, long life relationships from their schoolmates, from their classmates, from their NYC mates, people that you serve with. You realize that we form important relationships from all of these things. And then we decide who we are. Um we're all born at different times, but then at some point, I'm going to use myself as an example because I can relate to myself here. I decided that, okay, I was going to go to school and I was going to become a lawyer. Somebody else here decided that the person wanted to be an engineer because maybe something that caught my attention growing up made me want to become a lawyer, made me want to do what I want to do, made me want to even at this point, at the point where we started the Nature Nurture Initiative, it was something in my environment, it was something that I observed, it was something that I noticed that made me decide that I was going to start this organization to address this gap that has been observed in society. So that affects our purpose. And imagine if everybody had the same purpose to become a lawyer or had the same purpose to run Nature Nurture Initiative, and nobody was addressing the leadership gap, nobody was addressing the skills gap as relates to communication or technology or something that has to do with arts and designs and medicine and health. So community is very important, and this is where we now go to self-concept, how you perceive and understand yourself as an individual. This is where our esteem comes in. And you will now realize that even our individual esteem can be tied down to our parental upbringing, our experiences as children. You realize that people that were affirmed, that were given a platform, that were encouraged growing up, they have a better sense of self. They have a better understanding of who they are. They are less susceptible to external influences because they are well grounded in their identity. Next up, I mentioned that we're going to be talking about character, we're going to be talking about identity, and then we're going to be talking about choice and marrying it up to ourselves as Nigerian youths. So now we are going to talk about character. We've talked about identity, which is more internal. Now we are going to be talking about how all of this now shapes your character, which are the external parts that you can see. So integrity. Some people are people of integrity, while some people are not. Some people are responsible, while some people are not. You will see people who are not able to own up to their actions at any point in time. And if you tie it back, everything can be tied back to behavioral science, why we act the way we do. You tie it back, you see that at some point in life, some of the experiences or the path that they told led them to this point. Maybe they lived with guardians or models or parents who were always dodging responsibility, and as a result they also became irresponsible people. People become honorable because they observe it. We learn by observing, we learn by relating, we learn by intermeddling, honoring others with dignity and consideration. So all of these examples of character that I have on my slides are the positive aspects, because well, it's good to always dwell on the positives. But if you look at it the other way, you realize that some people are on the other side of the divide. You realize that some people don't have empathy. They're not able to sympathize with the experiences of others and all of that. Courage, acting with bravery, all of these things are things that make up who you are. So at the end of this session, I hope that the most important thing that we're able to take out is that your identity and your character are they are even more important determinant factors in who you are, as opposed to what you do. Because, like I like to say, what you do can change, where you are can change, but who you are cannot change. Today, you can be a married person, tomorrow, you can be a single person. Today, you can be someone without a child, tomorrow, you can be a parent. And all of these things are things that can change because of things that are not necessarily within our control. But at all times, your character and how you want to be viewed are in your control. So those are the things that make up who you are. So moving on from this, we're now going to merge identity and character. So basically, who you are, sorry, who you are begins with how you see yourself. So we want to help us here learn how to project ourselves in a right light, in the positive light. And then your beliefs and your values, which we highlighted a few moments ago, they shape the decisions you take. You see some people and are unkind, they are deliberate about life because of the belief system that they make. For instance, some people believe that if I do so and so, for instance, you were told that you should go to school, have good grades, and if you have good grades, you get a good job and you're able to build the life that you want. Some people believe in that and they stick by it, while some people are of the belief system that you can cut corners. And let me now tie it to our Nigerian reality, for instance. You realize that I was in a meeting a few days ago, and I was talking about how we no longer value, there's no longer dignity of labor per se in Nigeria. And we can tie it down to how the society has kind of programmed us to act, has programmed us to be. Because over time, value and more emphasis has been placed on being financially successful as opposed to being a good person, as opposed to being somebody who upholds good values. So if you meet somebody who believes that the most important thing is money, it will affect how the person will relate with individuals, because they don't mind hurting people, they don't mind stepping on people's toes to achieve what they want to achieve. But if you see somebody who values human relationships, who values family, who values integrity, who values good character, you realize that for them, the end does not justify the means. The means has to be properly done in a fair and respectable manner to achieve the desired goal and the desired end. Character formation is how our identity influences character and how they are built. So all of these things merged together will now lead you to the kind of life that we hope that Nigerian youths would have. So, what shapes us? We have mentioned all of this, so I'm just going to run through it. I would advise that all of these things that are highlighted, we should take time after this meeting to go and do like a self-assessment. There are many tools available for us online to assess ourselves. You just answer a few questions, you go through a few scenarios, and you're able to then reflect on certain things on who you are. Because believe me, once you understand this, it's like you've just identified your superpower and how to apply it to your life. You know that, okay, with these results, I will fit best in this kind of things, or this is a better way for me to approach these things, as opposed to just maybe looking at my friend who is completely different from me, and I see what works for them, and then I decide that that is what I want to work for me. That will not be a very good way to go about life. But if you sit down and reflect and introspect on these six key things, then you're able to understand. For instance, we have the issue of temperament. Most of us here, everybody, no, I would say that one person is not just a hard fixed in one temperament. They're usually in a combination of maybe two or more, although one is usually more dominant. If you understand all of this, then you're able to understand why you act the way you do. Emotional reactions can be tied most of the time to our upbringing and our attachment styles. If you should do your attachment style test, you'll understand why you're acting the way you do and how you should improve it, or how you can take advantage of it, because not one way is bad. No one emotional response is superior to the other, but it is important that you know which one is your own, so that you know how to apply it in your life. And this is important. I think it's great that we're learning this now, because we're going into the world, we're going into adulthood, we're going into the labor market, into entrepreneurship, and we will have to deal with people. Except you want to live on an island alone. But the fact that you're interacting with people and interacting with yourself, which is very important, because I believe that a number of people interact with others, but they don't interact with themselves. We should spend time with ourselves, get to know yourself, get to know what makes you you, so that you're able to advance. Your family life, our family lives are different, like I mentioned earlier. Home environment, parenting styles, and relationship. So I want you to go back after this meeting, do a review of all of these aspects of your life. Be honest with yourself. It's not a report that you need to share with anybody, but be honest with yourself. Bring out the pros and cons, those things that you feel have been negative influences, that you feel have been positive influences, and then do like a SWOT analysis for yourself. The way we do SWOT analysis for our businesses to make them grow, we need to also perform a personal s- SWOT analysis to understand our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, and our threats, so that we're able to focus on the areas that we need to focus on. Our personality. I want us to also know that personality, we don't have much time to delve into that now, but our personality and our temperament, although they are connected, they are completely they are different. So we should also identify this. And also our upbringing. Most parents, and I've heard a few people who choose schools for their children because of the kind of experiences that they want them to have. You will realize that some people are even they don't mind spending all their money, all their investment and resources in sending their children to a particular kind of school because they are fully aware that the kind of things that their children are exposed to will help them in life. A child in the rural area, no offense to them, because they didn't choose where they wanted to be born. We had no influence on all of this. A child that was born in somewhere in a very rural place where there's no access to internet, no access to electricity, there's no access to the global world. Certain things are beyond their purview. I think I saw a video online one time and they were asking a young child what he wanted to be, not just one child, but a number of children what they wanted to be. And I know a child said he wanted to be a Yahoo boy. A child said he wanted to be a tailor. No offense, there's nothing wrong with being a tailor, but you will agree with me that certain people that are educated, if you are an educated tailor, you won't even call yourself a tailor. You call yourself a fashion designer. You brand yourself because you know that fashion is a very big thing. But this child that was talking about being a tailor was talking about probably having a small kiosk in one place where she'll be showing for her community members because that is the picture that has been painted to her. That is the reality that the child has been exposed to. Some people do not even know that they can become AI experts, that they can become astronauts, that they can become brain surgeons, that they can become leaders, they can become politicians because their immediate environment has painted a picture, a limiting picture, and put them in a wall. So it's important that we expand ourselves and all of that. So just so that we move on, I will go to the next slide, which now talks about it places a bit more focus on internal influences. So we're going to be highlighting temperament here. I'm not going to dwell on this because I would want us to go on in our spare time to reflect on these internal influences. So these are our temperaments, and the four major temperaments that are highlighted that most people are aware of, which other ones flow out of, are the sanguine, the choleric, melancholic people, and the phlegmatic people. So these are your inborn traits, and they shape how you think, how you feel, how you act. A choleric person, for instance, sorry, a choleric person, for instance, would be more serious or more will look more serious on the outside than a sanguine person. You can say something to a sanguine person and person will not take offense. But a melancholic person would probably take offense to all of this because of their kind of emotions and the kind of way that the person has been brought up. Sorry, just a minute, please. Okay. Okay, so moving on from all of this, take in your spare time, take your time to identify all of this, like I recommended that we do, understanding temperaments and how it works. So maybe after our meeting, we can share the slides on the group so that we all have access to it and it can guide us in our learning and our development because it's very important. And then we'll move on to internal influence number two, which is self-awareness. That's, I mentioned SWOT analysis a few minutes ago. Know your strengths, identify your natural talents and your abilities so that you can build on them. Know your weaknesses, acknowledge the areas where you are not strong. There are certain things that even if I spend the next 5 years learning, I will not be perfect in it because it's just simply not my strength. In your areas of weaknesses, you will now look for how you can fill in the gap. It's like you want to form an organization now. You know that you are good with numbers, but you need someone that is good with people. As a person who is forming an organization, and I want to pay attention to this because after NYC, we're going to go into life doing different things. You'll identify your strength. In building your team, you need to do a SWOT analysis for building your team. You cannot have a team of 5 people and all 5 of them are only good in a particular area and not good in the other area. So if you have someone that is good with people and not good with numbers, your social media will be thriving, but your account will be suffering. Your account will be suffering because you only employ probably sanguine people who will make your company look fun, and then every other place looks boring. I'm out of time, but I would quickly round up now, or try to round up. Another part of internal influence that we're highlighting is emotional intelligence. Allow me dwell on this for a minute. A lot of Nigerians are not emotionally intelligent. It's something that we need to pay attention to. It's something that we need to learn. It's something that we need to build, because people have lost relationships, people have lost opportunities as a result of a lack of emotional intelligence. Self control. Pause. Don't be reactive. Pause before you react. Master your impulses and responses. Have a control over your nervous system. All of these things, they sound like foreign terms to us, but it's important, because whether you're a lawyer, whether you're in tech, whether you're an artist, whether you want to further your education, whether you want to go into a business, whether you want to run your family business, whether you want to go into government, all of these things are important because they affect how we behave, they affect how we interact. Whatever field you find yourself, it is important that we learn to be emotionally intelligent, learn self control, learn empathy, understand and share the feelings of others around you, understand emotional regulation. You're not a child. You know how children have impulse responses and they can throw tantrums. As adults, you're not expected to just throw tantrums. You see children, if you take something away from them, they begin to lash out. As an adult, you need to emotionally regulate yourself, manage your emotions in a healthy and a constructive way. You need to build social awareness, be aware of people, be aware of your social dynamics. You know that if you enter a particular if in a particular way, there are certain societal expectations. If you are in the villa, for instance, there are certain ways that you're supposed to act. You can't act like the way you act um in a motor park. Also, you have to build what do they call these things? I think it's OT they call it on the streets. You need to know how to code switch. As Nigerians, it's peculiar because as I'm speaking to you now in English, I'm speaking all prim and proper. If I find myself in Ikeja under bridge, I need to be able to adapt so that people don't take advantage of me, because that is our Nigerian reality. That is what we are also talking about. You cannot act the way you are acting in the villa, for instance. You cannot act that same way when you find yourself under the bridge at 9 p.m. in Ikeja. You have to be smart. You have to know how to carry yourself. All of these things are social awareness. So the way I will act, or the way I will dress, or the way I will present myself when I'm going to computer village, for instance, will be different from the way I present myself when I'm in the UN, because those scenarios require a different part of me. I believe that we're with me. Relationship management, I cannot emphasize this enough. We need to be able to build and maintain healthy, meaningful connections. I would say that in all of my life, most of the opportunities, if not all of the opportunities I've had, are as a result of the relationships that we have. Yes, it's good to have good grades. Yes, it's good to have first class and all of that. But a lot of times we go ahead in life as a result of our network, as a result of recommendations. You just say that, oh, Shay, I saw this. I think it will be a good fit for you. Would you be able to um would you be able to sorry, I was getting another call. I believe you can hear me. Please let me know if you can hear me. Okay. I was talking about maintaining and building healthy relationships. So now I don't know how to emphasize this enough. All the core members that you have as friends, take advantage of relationships. I'm not saying that you should just be friends with everybody. I'm not saying that you have to necessarily be nice to everybody. But the truth of the matter is that we need relationships. You don't know who the person is, your the core member that you're going through service with now. You don't know the doors that will be open to the person. Most of the time, we want to network upwardly because we see people that have gone ahead of us, and then we think that okay, we need to cozy up to maybe the director here, we need to cozy up to the permanent secretary here. But you know that all those people, the best way to even reach them is through their underlings, the people that work under them. Be friendly with the gate man, be friendly with the cook, be friendly with the PA. They are the ones that will give you access that even the people up there cannot give to you. So all of this to say that relationship management is very, very, very important and cannot be overemphasized. So finally, internal influence is personal agency. This is very important because this is like the core of what everything that we are doing ties to. Our circumstances influence us, we agree. Our environment impact us, but they do not set limits on us. Your circumstances do not define you. Stay on how you want your story to be written. I always say that we are the pilot of our lives. If we decide that this is how we want our lives to go, this is how it will go. Yes, there are certain things that will be outside of our control, but if you keep at something for a very long time, if it doesn't work out the first time, if it doesn't work out the second time, if it doesn't even work out the 10th time, tenacity, commitment, and diligence is something that you need to build up because it may not have worked the first time or the second time, but definitely if you keep at it, it will work. I like to um make an example of I think Hillary Clinton. I don't know how many times she ran for office, but she ran for office a number of times and she won. So if you keep up at something, you see a lot of politicians, they keep going to do, they keep running for office. You see people who have been running for office. Let me make a joke about our candidate, our former vice president Atiku. You see the number of times that he has campaigned for the office of the president. If he eventually wins this thing one day, it will be because he did not stop. It will be because he continued. So we need to take responsibility. That brings us to the next point. Take responsibility over your life, own your decisions, own your growth and your outcomes. Be intentional about your everyday choices. Every day, choose an action that is aligned with your values and your goals. Don't just do for the follow. Don't just follow people up and down. Understand why certain things are, and that way we are able to shape our future. External influences now. External influences are family. These things, our parenting styles, our family values, our home environment, relationships, self-esteem development. I mentioned this earlier. They all had an influence on who we became today. Affirmation and support. And all of these things, I want us to actually do it because we're young people here. A number of people may be married, a number of people may be starting our families immediately or subsequently. It's important that the gaps or the failings that you had in your upbringing, it's important that we are deliberate in building it up in the upcoming generation. So the fact that you had parents that were strict, did not affirm you, they didn't build up your identity early enough. Agency comes in because as a child now, as an adult now, you cannot blame everything on the parents that raised you. At a point in time, I'm sure we've heard of the concept of reparenting. You need to reparent yourself because the truth of the matter is that our guardians, our parents, when they brought us up, they were not perfect. They were also just learning. They probably did not even have access to the number of benefits and advantages that we have access to now. So we also have to give them grace. But the fact that you know better, the fact that you know that your parenting style can influence how your child will be, whether your child will be somebody who will not be able to speak up in public, who will be shy, who will be fearful, who will have low self-esteem. You now know that these things influence them. We know better, so we should do better. As we are reparenting ourselves, we should also parent the generation that is coming up after us. Family values, home environment, relationship, self-esteem development, all of these things are important. External values are school, the schools that we go to, they influence how we see discipline, how we view leadership. A number of schools that are properly structured, you see that right from a young age, children are given the platform to speak, they are given the platform to take on offices, and all of this is building them. Because you are a class rep here, you are an NYSC president here, you are a prefect here, you take on leadership roles, you plan things. This is all adulthood is all about. We just do it on a bigger scale, we do it on a more mature and a more serious scale. But right from secondary school or university, you've been planning conferences, you've been planning events, you've been doing all of that, taking on relationships and all of that. So the next important thing to identify, I think we've identified relationships across families, across schools, they are important. Confidence, achievement, and recognition, they build self-confidence in youth. So if you didn't have this, make sure you give it to the next generation so that people are not deficit. This cycle does not continue. The whole point is that we identify these things and we are able to break the cycle now that we have identified it, your aspirations and all of that. So the point is that we've seen all these things, we've seen all these feelings in our society as Nigerians. We've seen how our parents were not properly emotionally intelligent. They didn't learn what they were supposed to learn. Now we have learned it. We should use it to impact the upcoming generation so that the generation from now will not be the same as our own generation. I hope that we are getting all of this and that we are with me and that I'm making some sense, if not complete sense to you. Peer groups. Peer groups affect our motivation. So for instance, now I had a first class in from the Nigerian law school, and I would let you know that I could not have had that result if not because of my friend group. In law school from the day one, I joined a group. We had a reading group. We used to go and read every day. We would take questions, revise. It was not like I just sat down on my book and I was reading on my own. But because of the people that I went to uni with and ended up in law school with, we were able to form a group, and that influenced us. Myself and my reading partner, we both had first class in law school. Why? Because we decided that we're going to help ourselves grow. So if you identify people in your immediate environment, you see the way they are living their lives, you want to become like them, attach yourself to them. Also bring value to the table because you don't want to be leeching off people and not being um a contributor too. So positive peer influence, growth, all of this is as a result of peer pressure. People that end up in gangs, that end up in cultism, is a result of the person that they met at one point or the other. So moving on, I will share the slides. Let me just round up by um talking about the Nigerian context quickly. Ethnicity. Nigeria is a very unique society because we have over 250 ethnic groups, and these shape our unique identities. You see people in this country, we have so many cultures. In England, for instance, maybe you would have like maybe their culture is just one or two. They have one language, they have one culture, and they do things the same way. Maybe the Scottish people are the ones that can be said to be different from the English people. But in Nigeria, in Ondo State alone, you have people that have so many dialects, they have so many upbringing, so many belief systems. This is also what has influenced the way we are in Nigeria. We have religion. Religion plays a very important role in Nigeria. If you learn emotional intelligence, you learn how to relate to people, you realize that opportunities, certain things, you will see that even in government offices, in the ministry, if those of us that are in Abuja or in the north, you see that most people dress a certain way if they are going to see a director because they are trying to relate, they are trying to have something that connects them to achieve, to get the goal that they want to achieve. You see people that are not Muslims or that are not Northerners, but because they have a meeting with a Northerner who wants to help them, they adapt. That is where adaptability comes in. Community values, access to technologies is another thing that we need to take advantage of. The world is a global village. You're in Nigeria. Some of us have not left Nigeria in our lives, but we're able to interact with people all over the world. The recent jackpot syndrome that is influencing all of us now. We have friends across the world, and we're influenced by all of these things. Technology is affecting us. Always review what comes in because, like that time that we learned in computer growing up, garbage in, garbage out, globalization. So the global culture, media, and trends they influence our identity. So the Nigeria that our parents grew up in is not the same Nigeria that we grew up in, that we are growing up in, because the world has now become a global village. So this now leads us to the next slide, which talks about social media and digital identity. This has led to comparison culture. I would admit that has happened to me. You can just be in your room, you can be having a completely good day. All of a sudden, you open your Instagram or your Twitter or your WhatsApp, and you see your friend in Zanzibar, or you see your friend in Seychelles, and all of a sudden your day is ruined because you feel like your life is not going where it's supposed to go. And probably you were even giving yourself kudos, patting yourself on the back that you had a good day. This month has been a good month. But all of a sudden you open social media and see your friend is maybe speaking at the UN, and you are feeling like, okay, oh, I'm still here in one village. All of these things affect our mind. All of these things affect our mind. So we need to pay attention to it. Do not validate yourself from external factors, because those external things can always shift. If you are seeking likes from people, you will just be living in depression and anxiety. Identity confusion is another issue, because sometimes we mix ourselves. There's a way we project ourselves online, and the way we are actually in real life. A lot of people are not able to tell the difference. We need to know that what we project and who we are, we need to be able to marry them together. So the identity crisis among Nigerian youth. All of these things that I've spoken about, depending on how you have grown up, has led to low self-esteem, lack of direction, peer dependency, moral confusion, online validation addiction. You see people who are depressed because of what they've seen online. People are confused because the ethical lines have been blurred. People are no longer, they don't have the right sense of self or awareness and all of that. So how do we build, after identifying all of these challenges, how do we build strong identity and character? And that will be my last point before I close. Strong identity and character. Develop self-awareness. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses, know what triggers you, know what motivates you, and this will help you to grow. Understand your temperament. I will not speak on that again. Clarify your values. Ask yourself, what do you want to know for? What do you want to be known for? Surround yourself with people that you can see that, okay, they are going in the same direction as you are, or they share the same values as you are. People that inspire growth in you. Choose your friends wisely, because the friends you surround yourself with, you will look like them, whether you like it or not. In the next 5 or 10 years, you will look like them. Build emotional intelligence, and lastly, take responsibility. You have to become the author of your story. Many factors have influenced you. Yes, we agree. Your family influenced you, your barrier influenced you, your school influenced you. Now that all these things have influenced you, what are you going to do about it? Choose your values. Do not be controlled by things that are beyond your control. Choose who you become. You are the author of your life. Write a story of yourself, integrity, purpose. I will give you an assignment as we close. I want you to write down in your journal what you want, the way you want to see yourself in 5 years. And when people write about what they want to see in 5 years, I'm sure people just say, I want to be married, I want to have 2 children. I want you to write about your values. What are the things that you want to be important to you? You can also write about your career aspirations and all of that if you want to do, but that's not what I'm focused on. Author your life. Write that in the next 5 years, I want to be somebody who is not anxious. I want to be somebody who has a proper identity, a proper high self-esteem. I want to be somebody who is emotionally intelligent in this area. I want to be somebody who is not reactive, who does not flare up, or who is not easily triggered. And then write down, what are the various steps that I need to take to get to this point in life. After you have done this, also every year you can now go back and be scoring yourself, be grading yourself on all of this. Thank you so much for listening to me. It's been a privilege.
Thank you so much, Shay. That was wonderful. Can we just give a round of applause to a virtual round of applause to our speaker for today? That was a wonderful session. I learned a lot from character development to environmental management, and that was just a lot. Can we just give a virtual hand to our speaker, Shay. Thank you so much. That session was a lot. And like she said, a lot of things can change, but who you are internally remains the same. Jobs can change, careers can change, where you choose to invest can change, but keeping who you are, discovering who you are is very important. And I hope each and every one of us were able to take notes of some of the things she said because today is really packed and is really memorable. So I know some of us would have some questions. So feel free to drop your questions in the comment section right now so that we address them. And I want to lay emphasis on one important thing as she said, let this go beyond today from the assignment she gave to a lot of the things she said, let it be beyond today. Have a point of contact that this is where I want to be. This is some of the values I want to see in the next future or in the next 2 or 3, 5 years to come. So I don't know if there's anyone that has questions, please. You can drop it in the comment section right now. Okay. Okay, so we have 2 questions. We're only going to take 2 questions. So quickly, before we close, if there's any question, feel free to drop it because we're about to round up and close now. Okay, so no question. No question. All right. So since there is no question, then since there is no question, let's just round up. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining, even beyond today. Right? Come back to this video. Come back to listen to all she has said because all what she said and all what we learned today transcends a day. It has the ability to influence several years of a corper's life, several years of a core member's life. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. Thank you for staying online. Thank you for being a part of this memorable day. And I hope you have a wonderful day. All right. So before we leave, quickly, an attendance will be dropped on the in the chat box. So before you leave, please click on the attendance and sign the attendance, right? Click on the attendance and sign it. It has already been pinned. Okay, I'm seeing some. All right, so we're going to give 1 or 2 minutes just if in case you are typing your questions, right? If I'm going to give, I'm just going to hold on for about 30 or 1 minute for anyone that has a question. You can quickly type it quickly as possible. And then I'll hand over to I'll hand over. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. Over. Okay, someone said, Soma, you talked about Zell. Okay, I don't understand that question. All right, so since there is no question and no one has responded, I'll be handing over to the next speaker, the next person, Mr. Bright.
All right, good afternoon or good morning, everyone. I think it's the morning. What a wonderful session we had today. And I believe every single one of us, right, probably have 1 or 2 takeaway, which we're going to go back to our various houses or rooms or wherever we're joining from and sit back. Now, there's something peculiar that the Socrates used to say, which is very important in everyone's life. Man, know thyself, right? It is very, very good and very, very crucial. We all take our time to get to know ourselves because sometimes I say this, right? It takes a lot for you to be able to discover yourself. So this session has been a great one. First, I want to thank our wonderful speaker with the name of Barrister Oluwaseyi Adebimpe, who is a lawyer with over 7 years of professional experience in legal advisory and governance. She is the founder and executive director of the Nature Nurture Initiative. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for joining on behalf of Mind the Gap and on behalf of the management, we say thank you for joining, and we do wish you all a wonderful, wonderful day. See you next time. Bye for now.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Bright, and to everyone who has joined up the call, thumbs up. And I'm just here to say one simple thing: the national CDS is so important that everyone in the CDS is meant to be part of it. So I'm so surprised that we have a fewer numbers. I'm just here to make emphasis on the national CDS. The national CDS is mandatory for every DL for all CDS member. Let me tell you why. Why is because we are not just here to tell you about anything we are telling you, but we are ensured and we are saddled with the responsibility to see that you're better than what you joined us as a CDS member for. So this is a clear call to every CDS member. Please, going forward, every national CDS meeting, which happens every second Thursday of every month, is compulsory. Is compulsory. And I believe everyone who has joined in this session today is not just learning, but a seed has been planted in you for greatness, because this is where you become and it is where you're being made. Ladies and gentlemen, your NYC yet is just a few days, so you need to make the most of your service here. Arguably, we're the best NYC CDS, and you are the best NYC call member that is actually listening to me. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a clear call. The next national CDS meeting, please don't miss out. Tell others, tell your friends, be an advocate of good things. You're not paying for this, you're only coming here to learn. Thank you once again to our speaker. Thank you to the moderator. While I pass the baton mark to the moderator, so he says the goodbye, not us saying the goodbye. Thank you once again to everyone who has joined in, and see you soon. Please don't forget to fill the attendance. See you next national CDS meeting. Over to you, Israel.